Lesson learned. Do not record at 5 in the morning. You can't focus your thoughts, and you sound drunk. That's okay. You also go into a sinking depression. Funny enough, I was listening back on that. Thankfully, I didn't say anything I regret. However, something I do need to change my tune to is Turok 2. I do still like shooters. I played AVP 2, and I started getting footage for that. And Turok 2. And this will be a subject for discussion. I really like Turok 2. I really like it. And I cannot pinpoint why. I honestly have no clue why I like it so much, but I do. I really, really enjoy it. I don't know. It'll be a thing. It'll be a thing for me to possibly discover in an LP. Wouldn't that be nice? AVP 2 is kind of the same way. There's a couple of things that I get annoyed by in AVP 2, but I really like the game itself. It's a ton of fun. But me being me, we gotta get through this first. Get through it. It's torture. No, it's not. It's a video game. Nevertheless, my opinion on this game still has not changed, and I would assume a lot of that also has to do with, among a variety of reasons, primarily just my familiarity with this game. I know where to go, I know what to do, and yes, I know where everything is, so that just by virtue of sort of like whenever you achieve mastery in something, it becomes mundane, and mundanity becomes boring. Thus, hey, you're going to find some games boring and others not. Which I suppose immediately contradiction occurs in my own head, in which I say, well, I don't find Dark Souls 1 boring, even though I literally know where everything and every enemy is in that game too. What's the distinction? I don't know. That would have to be lengthy analysis. And ultimately, I would most likely just have to pin it down to human nature. We are a wildly contradictory species. Driven by emotions over logic. Bleh. Yeah! Sure, pal. But the mood strikes me in the moment. Turok 1's not really all that good, but Turok 2, that I was having a blast with. I will say one point of defense, that probably... Why are they bleeding red? I thought they bled yellow. Oh, who cares? I suppose that... Have I mentioned that? The game is... All these gory deaths and the bloodshed is kind of another thing this game became known for. It's one of the first... You know what? I'm not going to put my foot in my mouth this time. It is one of the first games I personally became aware of for having death throws where the guy grabs his neck and gurgles on it. And oh man, that's so gory. We're getting away with something because, you know, you're 8 years old and you're not supposed to see that stuff. I actually saw a video recently explaining why kids like shock humor. Actually, it was very, I totally agreed with it, and I said, hey, that is kind of why I did like certain things a long time ago. It's why I preferred extremely violent games, like Turok, because why did I wish for them to bring the blood back in Zelda? Is it any particular reason? Does it add anything? Being an adult, no, it doesn't really add anything to me. The only time it does add anything is, again, I've been referencing Doom 2016 far too often, but it does stand to reason. If it's drawn to excess, then I think it can, in a way, provide a cathartic reaction. It's just so violent, so excessively violent, that it becomes interesting again. In a similar way to when someone makes a joke too many times. It's funny at first, then it becomes not funny, and then it kind of loops back around. But you still have to exercise the principles of comedy, and that if you continue to drag it out over and over again, it will become not funny again, and it won't become funny ever again. At that point, it just becomes a cliche. Or would it be a cliche? Yeah. Oft repeated. Ugh. One thing I have noticed, I've actually said it before, but the reuse of assets was obviously to conserve cartridge space. And boy, is it noticeable, and that if nothing else, is probably the primary reason that Turok 1's kind of boring. It's just, you see this, you literally, and this is not a misuse of literally, you literally see the same environments again and again. I was literally frozen. No, that's just shock. Refed. These are the aliens. They're not given any kind of fanfare or anything. They just kind of appear out of the mist or the fog. Let me see what the manual says. I'm trying to find things to talk about. I've said my piece. What does the manual say about it? Manual does have an advertisement for Forsaken. That's cool. What the? Ooh. A Windows 95 registration card. Oh my god. Oh, what is the earliest version of Windows that I used? I think it was Windows 98. Alright. Boy, if you want a useless weapon in this game, try the Shockwave gun. It does have a pretty cool effect in that if you hit an enemy with it fully charged, they'll kind of freeze in place and then explode. I guess the idea is they're being molecularly broken down. However, in practical use is nil. What does it say? Alien infantry. Here we go. Insectoid raiders from a faraway galaxy. They fire powerful photon blasts and are very good shots. And hey, those packs on their backs ain't there for nothing. One of the more deadly enemies in the game. Not really. They also very rarely show up. I mean, obviously, you save that for later on in the game, but even in the late game, we're at level 6. Okay, there are only 8 levels in the game. And we're not going to see the aliens... Let's see, they're in one zone. One zone in the next level. And then in the following level, I think you find them in exactly 2 rooms. I think. I don't know. You see them so infrequently, I don't know. Let's see what it says about the frickin' Kraken. Shockwave weapon, here we go. Oh, the alien weapon. Don't bother with it. It sucks. And it sucks so hard. You see how many shots it took to kill that one guy? That one poacher? That's why it's terrible. And me fighting that one guy made me realize how terrible it was. But in a way, part of me also wanted to see, okay, maybe I'm just using it wrong. It can't be that awful. So I'll keep using it for a second, but take it, no, it's no good. Even if you do hit the guy, it's no good. Shockwave weapon fires high energy particle blasts. This one can break down the atomic structure of the enemy, first causing cessation of movement at the molecular level, and then, never mind, try it and see. Charge it longer by holding down the trigger button for a considerably larger effect. Uses energy cells to reload. Remember, the longer you charge it, the more energy it will use. Keep that in mind. An addendum I can make for the Treetop village specifically. This is the most, I will call this, of the jungle levels, the most interesting of those. It is the, not most perplexing. My vocabulary fails me again. It's not intricate, it's not... It's yet again just another straight line with a couple of minor diversions to the left and right. However, it is the level that I found myself... this recording, you're saying, is actually the first time of me going through it. And, consequently enough, I thought, during the entire time, I have to be missing the keys. I have to be missing them, because I haven't found a single one yet, and that's bothering me. Because I remember very vague details from it, from the level, but I don't remember exactly where everything is. And after he just claimed he knew where everything was. I know where everything is in relative terms. I know where everything is on the next level and the level after that. But this one, while I was running through it, I got a little bit concerned that I was missing certain things. I said, okay, fine, we'll have to do it again. But no, you're not supposed to have any keys yet. It's a very, very, very lengthy linear line. Wavy line. God, I need to shave. It's also one of the rare times whenever you cannot technically ignore a lot of the enemies. I know I've said that and I'm still shooting guys. I've had that discussion before. I've had it before. I played it on hardcore, and yes, I did actually run through most of it. The enemies in that are so fast. They're so fast on hardcore. It's kind of funny. And in a way, it makes them easier to run past. In a way. That being said, the later levels in hardcore are not the later levels, the middle levels are the hardest levels on hardcore difficulty. They actually gave me a great deal. They actually provided me with a challenge. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that because secretly I'm terrible. And I'm just... No, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to put the work in. I've already got this up for preservation, and that's good enough. I just don't want to play Turok again. I want to get to Turok 2. Because Turok 2 is fun. And that I will play on hardcore. I'm playing... Speaking of moving on to the sequels, AVP 2, I started getting footage for that, and I've run into already a problem. I'm going to do a silent LP of it, and that'll be my cinematic, show it in its best light format, like I tried to do with Below. that'll be that. And then I'll do it again, because I actually really enjoy it. And that will be live, and that will be me, basically. That'll be trash, garbage, clown shoes. The silent LP is being done on hardcore difficulty, and then the live one I'll probably do on hard or normal, so I can quick save and mess around. And I won't feel guilty about it. But that was the problem I ran into, is I wanted to do it live, and I wanted to show it off in its best light at the same time. And I kind of ran into this problem where, well, I don't talk a lot when I do live, but boy, I'm also willfully holding my thoughts back, because I literally never want to say anything negative about the game. Because there are things in there in AVP2 that are clear demonstrations that there was a team that really wanted to put forth their best efforts. And it shows. Whereas here, I don't want to say that about this game. I don't want to say this game doesn't have the team's best efforts behind it. It also does. But it's in the forms of things like, it's working within the constraints of having to be on the Nintendo 64. I think that's my biggest problem with it. It feels constrained. You know what? I think that's what it is. Immediately going backwards. It feels like a vision deferred, call it that. A big part of why I love Turok 2, I was playing through it recently, doing practice runs, is it's the exact opposite of that. The levels are great! Oh, they're multi-leveled, and there's a lot of side paths, and oh, I love it! And there's some comedic value in it, because you literally rescue children, and they go, "Thank you, Turok!" It makes me laugh because it's so silly, but at the same time, that's the thing, it's silly. Oh, Turok 2 was a blast. Can't wait to get to it. And that was even before I got to the cerebral bore. They also fixed a lot of the problems in the first game, like ammo switching. And the bow is instead of being the most useless, or one of the more useless weapons, the bow is the single most useful weapon. Something I am a little concerned about with Turok 2 is overuse of the bow. Because, good lord, the bow is awesome in that game. Yay! Let's talk about Turok 2. Turok 2's great! Oh no, we have to talk about Turok 1. Oh god. Perlins are also aliens, by the by. Do you care? Do you? Do you really? I got that bad man with the minigun. Boy, he sure is poaching. Oh, man. Oh, you got him. Look how cool that is. Isn't that great? It really makes you want to use a shockwave weapon, right? Yeah! Hype! Get hype! Get a... Oh.